Let's go cruising, I said. So we did. And everything was going really well. So how did we get from this to this? Well, you have to rewind a few days. Let's start at the beginning. Alas, it was time to say goodbye to an old friend. Stripped the skin off my knuckles once too often, so it's time to buy a new outboard. The new furler installation was working well, so it was time to relaunch KISS. And we retreated to another delightful sunset. And some good food. Following morning, we tested the boat and sailed down to Queenborough on the Isle of Sheppey. And did what all good cruisers do, we went to the pub.
Come on, you lot. Cause I'm having a good time, having a good time. I'm a shooting star racing through the sky like a tiger. I am the Lord's of gravity.
Look and go, my brother. This one's for you, Patsy. Because you may not be my first. And you may not be my last. You keep sinking those drinks like that, sweetheart, you can be my everything, and that's for sure.
The bees are buzzing in the trees, they'll make some honey just for me. When you look under them rocks and plants, and you take a glance at the fancy ants, and then maybe... Not like that, just like that. Oil me again. Don't know where, but I know we'll meet again. So shiny, I keep smiling through, just like you used to do. To the blue skies, chasing black clouds.
Oh, look at that.
I don't know where the boat is.
She too. It's the
It must be that one.
orange. That's that one.
There's that one.
It's this one.
The passage out into the Thames Estuary went well, along the shipping lanes, past Redfort Sands. As we rounded the headland at Margate and down past the Martello Towers towards Ramsgate, things got really rough, which we didn't film. But the new spray head I fitted was working well, so we kept fairly dry, arriving into Ramsgate quite safely. Then we went out for dinner and found this little Greek cafe called Papa Joe's. The bagazza is to die for, which, as you'll see coming up, we nearly did. Refilled and restocked, we decided to head out ahead of high winds predicted for the following day. What we didn't know was this weather front would be named as Storm Gillian, with consistent gusts of 45 knots blowing. The plan was to head out from Ramsgate up the coast and then around into Herne Bay and beat into wind. I'd go into the Swale estuary, anchor opposite the Hearty Ferry pub, have some dinner in the evening, and then the next day just ride out in protected waters from the predicted 45 prolonged gusts. Unfortunately, things didn't quite go to plan. As we were approaching the buoy system for entrance into the Swale, we tried to furl in our Genoa, and the furling system seized up. Something that shouldn't have happened, but it did. So we were left with very little choice. What I did was to circle the boat and try to get the sail wrapped around the foil on the furler as best I could, and then tied it on. There was still some sail billowing out in the wind, but there was nothing I could do. I had to get it in order to be able to get into a narrow, shallow estuary, and also to be able to anchor, ready for the next day for the predicted prolonged 45 knot gusts that were due to blow throughout the day and night. The following morning, as predicted, the 45 knot wind gusts arrived, and we held for about 2 hours on anchor. Then the anchor alarm went off. I'd set it for 100 metres, and sure enough, put my head up out of the hatch, and we were halfway across the estuary, heading for the Hearty Ferry pub, which wouldn't have been a bad place to ground and lose the boat. I pulled anchor up, and we motored back to where we initially anchored and dropped anchor, but it didn't hold. Immediately started dragging again. I then spotted a buoy that had someone's mooring line attached to it. So I tried to motor over to it, but I couldn't get the front of the boat to come round. So I had to do a circle and go over the anchor line that we'd already dropped. This was as close as we were ever going to get to losing the boat. If the anchor line had fouled in the prop, that would have been it. It would have taken less than 15 minutes to be blown across the estuary and then grounded. Luck would have it though, we didn't foul the prop and somehow managed to get a hold of this line attached to the mooring buoy in huge winds. It was incredibly scary. We didn't film any of this. I mean, the safety risk of trying to use a camera in these conditions is just not acceptable, and I certainly wasn't interested in trying to film anything. But anyway, we managed to get tied onto the boat. I leaned over the side of the boat and got in a second safety line. And so we were good. We were good for the night. The boat would heel 30 to 40 degrees when the big gusts came in, but we were safe on the buoy. Next morning, as predicted, 6 a.m, still blowing 45 knots, but very, very gradually starting to calm down. Got to about 1 o'clock and we were down to about 30 knots. Sun came out, and so we decided to head up the Swale. It's a very narrow, shallow channel. It's only 0.4 meters at low tide, but about 1 p.m. I had about 2 meters of tide in, and the tide was with us, so off we went, and we made it back. We travelled under the Kingsferry Bridge and got back to our anchor and got back to our mooring buoy at Hooness. Clearly this was the end of the cruise and very much the end of my Genoa.
And that, my friends, was Queen's.
This is the cause of the problem, this shackle with the bolt that goes through. The shackle is too big, the bolt is too long, and when the sail's under tension, the end of the bolt hits the foil and jams the swivel. Simplest of things, all of the work that's gone into this, and that is the cause of a shredded sail. My mistake. But there you go. Learning how to cruise the expensive way. Well, that's it from us for a little while. Price of a new sail stops us sailing for a little bit. So maybe there'll be another video, maybe there won't. See ya.